You know, he never really was such a bad little truck. Today we're taking a bit of a step back in time and we're going to take a look at the Transformers Prime Deluxe class Kup in the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I am glad that you're here. As always, I am your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot, and please check me out everywhere. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all of that good stuff. Have a look at my stop motion series, Universal Collision. Check out Machinery of Man and the Everything Factor. And there's been a lot of talk lately about Kup, largely because we are getting, or some people already have, the Wave 4 Titan's Return Titan Master version of this guy. And while I think that thing has a pretty fantastic alt mode and a really interesting transformation, in its robot mode, it doesn't really strike the chord for me for Kup. That being said, Kup is a character we haven't had a huge amount of figures for in any line, but when we do, they tend to be good, if not slightly off. And this Transformers Prime version is no different. The truck is, I think, a nice looking truck. It's definitely not a Kup styled truck, but it looks good. And I think that that's one of the big keys to having a nice Kup figure, is having a vehicle mode that looks good. Obviously this is more of an Earth-based alt mode, but we have to remember that in Transformers Prime we are not harkening back to the good old days of G1. So this guy is able to be a little bit stylized. He never appeared in the program, but I guess this is supposed to be an idea of how he probably would have looked. And I can dig that. I think that that's pretty cool. This was also used to make a Transformers Prime version of Ironhide. It might work even a little bit better for that. Depends on your sensibilities. That being said, this guy does sort of strike on some of the Kup chords. Not that head sculpt though. So, paint apps. I gotta give it a 10 because we don't really have anything to compare to. It's green, mostly, and gray. It has Kup colors. You will notice that there are scratches in the paint here and scratches in the paint up here. You'll probably notice that. There and there. This belongs to the Scraplets. At one point it was mine. I replaced him and gave this to the Scraplets, and you know, they enjoy him pretty good, and his transformation is interesting but not difficult, and that really says a lot about the Prime line, because a lot of those transformations were really challenging. So paint apps, 10, because I really kind of don't have a choice. And truth is, you know, when it's not scratched, it does look nice. Posability, playability, he rolls great in this mode. And in robot mode he has pretty decent posability. We'll see that later. I'm going to give his posability, playability, I'm going to give it about a 7. There are a couple of minor issues that sort of bug me. I'm going to give it a 7. Actually, I'm going to give it a 7.5. So we have a 10, we have a 7.5. Not too bad of a start overall. The guy is averaging somewhere around an 8.75 as a toy. Let's jump into his transformation. Well, first of all, we take these canisters off the back, and there are, if this wants to focus for me, there are holes in his feet here, and you can just peg these onto that. When you take them out, they become two blasters, and they're pretty good. They can even, is this the way? Yeah. They can even go together to become a rather large cannon type of blaster, and I think that's pretty cool. So we're just going to lay those aside for now. We will deal with them a little bit later. We're going to get into the transformation. Well, the very first thing that you need to do with this guy is pick up the whole top of the cab, and that can be a bit challenging, I suppose. There, pick it all up on this gray hinge in here. The whole shebang comes up. It tabs down over a couple of little sections here and here using this and this, and the front will snap in when you, I guess, put this whole piece down. For now, just leave that sort of free flowing, and we can detach the arms and the arms and sort of just bring those out to the side, kind of free flowing for now. Come down underneath on his belly, and this whole, I guess, abdomen chest section pushes up to reveal his head. We'll talk about that head sculpt in a bit, and we will kind of lock this into place in a little bit. Now that all of this is out of the way, you come to the back again, and the whole hip section, well, you bend the legs out like this, and then you bend the entire hip section down. You can leave it up, but it's supposed to come down, and it does make him a little bit taller. Split the legs, turn them, and turn them. By the way, you'll notice I started this guy out in vehicle mode. I don't often do that, but I did it with this guy because that's the way he came in package. Take the tailgate piece and bring it out to the side, and the tailgate piece and bring it out to the side. Perfect. Turn the foot down, turn the foot straight down. And straighten the foot up, straighten the foot up. That's his lower body done, and you can see him standing here pretty good. We still need to kind of deal with all of his arms and whatnot. On the sides, there are little pieces that come out. They are part of his bumper. They're the little pieces with the gold paint, I'm going to call it gold paint on it. And you bring those up a little bit on the side for now, so that we can angle up the shoulder while turning the tire to the back of the shoulder. And then you close the door pieces, and you close door pieces. This is the entire side of the truck. You close it over, and the two pieces make his forearm and his fist. And then you just angle those appropriately. I love his arm transformation. I think it's innovative and basically brilliant. Now, different people do different things here. Some people like to leave the whole backpack down on his back. That's certainly an option. I used to do that quite a bit, actually, because I thought that this looked a little more like Kup. The head sculpt, I don't know if there's a way for me to get this in closer. Taking that up out of it and bringing his legs back. See if I can bring this head sculpt in a bit more for you. There's the head sculpt. Yeah, okay, it has that prime aesthetic to it. I don't really dig it though. I'm not a fan of it. It doesn't look like Kup. That being said, you saw me kind of fiddle a bit with this backpack. If you leave the backpack down on the back, well, the arms still have a full range of motion up and down and forward and back, and he still has a 90-degree, a little over 90-degree elbow, and the head can turn, you know, all the way around 360, little up, little down, very, very, very slight up and down. The legs, they can still go, you know, out to the side that far, not quite full splits, but pretty close for an old timer. They can go forward. We have a nice 90-degree at the knee, right there. We even have ankle tilt on the guy. It's beautiful for a deluxe. Absolutely fantastic. And truth is, he stands pretty great. That being said, if you leave the backpack down here, you really can't bring the legs back because the backpack gets in the way. What you're supposed to do is bring the backpack up on the back. Bring these pieces down, and then you bring the hood forward. Now, that again is a little bit of a pain to do, and this is why. You bring this forward, and the idea is that you snap it down over his head and chest area. It goes under those little shoulder pieces and comes all the way down on his chest, which is fine, no problem. But I do find that this center piece of the hood tends to pop off, and that's not a big deal because you have a choice. You can either put it back on, and have it down over the back like that. It's a bit, it's a bit parts forming-ish, but it looks a lot cleaner. This official mode does sort of limit the head articulation a bit because it's harder to get to it, and the shoulders can only go up now this far. So it's up to you really what you do. Or of course you can take the hood and you can leave it on, if I can get it to go on like this, up over, or you can fold it back like this, and I find that a little bit obtrusive, to be honest with you. So it's really up to you what you do. Me personally, I like to leave this out, leave this up, and not even fiddle with the backpack, and leave the backpack down. I give up the, I guess, slight backwards. You can do it, but I mean, you're moving the backpack out of the way. But I kind of give up the backwards mobility of the legs so that the shoulders can go all the way up like this. That's why I give a 7.5 for his articulation. The transformation is fun, innovative, and easy. That's a 10. Now we have those two gun pieces. Well, they can conceivably go onto his forearms as a couple of cannons. They hold all right, but they're kind of loose. Naturally, because it's 5mm pegs, they can go in his hands as well. So it's up to you really what you want to do with that. Or you, of course, you put them together and give him like a bigger cannon. I think he looks pretty good. We have I'd say a good, for transformation, I'm going to say a good 9.5. That being said, my version of Kup is, that I like to use and that, fits in my collection, is this guy, the Generations version, who is admittedly bigger. That's the other thing. This Kup is a rather small deluxe. I look at the Generations Kup in full way back in episode 73. Of course, he's also come out with a Henkei version, and he most recently came out in that Platinum Heroes box set, and looks great in it. I feel like we'll say the three most common versions of Kup that we have, the Transformers Prime one, this one, and of course the Titans Return one, which I don't have as of this recording. I feel like that the Generations one is still kind of the go-to version of the character for Chug collectors. That being said, should you pass over this guy? If you're into the Transformers Prime line, or you don't have a version of Kup at all, I would consider this guy. He's a great figure and I do really enjoy him. He was at an 8.75. I just gave his transformation a 9.5. It is fun. It is interesting, but it's not that hard. Honestly, the guy is a strong 9.25. He's a strong figure. And only for the fact that I didn't like the head sculpt that much, and only for the fact that I really was drawn to the look and styling of that Generations Kup, I had no problem having this guy in my collection as a version of that character. Truth is, if he had had a head sculpt closer to G1, I don't know if I would have replaced him, because he's fun. He's really a surprising little jewel. And that being said, because he's a strong 9.25, would I give him a recommendation? Yeah, sure, he's great. Anyway, folks, that's it for another one. Thanks for taking a step back in time, giving me a few minutes of your time. And I look forward to when you and I get together for another visit right here inside the videos.